Hi everybody, Michael Marzoff here. 4-day state transition to teaching, ALTC 803, Class VG, Module 2, Dr. Brad Pepper. Foundations of a Safe School Environment. This is a case study presentation. I chose punishing choices, challenges of mandated reporting. This is actually a subject that's pretty close to me because mandated reporting kind of changed my life. Due to mandated reporting at a school, Chase High School, I now have another daughter, literally. In fact, you could say the reason I'm in the transition teaching program may stem back to that very thing. In the fall of 2019, my wife was in her first year over here as a paraprofessional. That October, a girl in the freshman class was taken into protective custody as a mandated reporter. Because of a mandated reporter, she listed my wife as a trusted adult. So fast forward to today, and that same girl is now our adopted daughter. She's a senior here at Chase, and I now teach at that same school. So had that not taken place with her being put into our care due to that mandated reporter, I probably would not be where I'm at today. I'll get into a little bit more detail on that later. There's a picture of her and me at the prom this last spring. Okay, punishing choices is a case study provided by the Harvard Graduate School of Education. It's about a teacher in Memphis weighing her options as to whether or not to contact authorities about her concerns of child abuse. The teacher is originally from New Jersey, is not used to the amount of corporal punishment that takes place in the all-black elementary school in the South. She finds herself thinking one of her third grade students might be a victim of more than corporal punishment over into child abuse. But she has not only to decide whether or not it is child abuse, but also whether or not to report it, because there's been issues with the Tennessee Department of Children's Services that's been in the news lately. And she's witnessed firsthand a mandated reporting case that turned out unfavorable for the child that was put into the system. Now, as far as the law and ethics guiding her decision, in this particular case, the main law guiding the decision is that she is a mandated reporter. In fact, in Tennessee, every citizen is a mandated reporter. It's a little more complicated than that, though. Corporal punishment is common in this particular school. The teacher, Amanda Whitford, really doesn't have first-hand experience with corporal punishment, but her research tells her there's a razor-thin line between corporal punishment and child abuse. In fact, the Tennessee DCS notes that bruises and marks don't automatically equal child abuse. Ethics also comes into play for this because her friend reported to DCS in Tennessee the previous year that the child that was taken from his home was separated from his sister, bounced around from one home to another over the last 9 months. It really hasn't been a very good situation for him, and Amanda is seeing that firsthand. Now, the law, it's a dilemma herself for Amanda. She is mandated to report, but she's seen enough to mandate? That's a question. Like I said earlier, it even states bruises and marks don't automatically equal child abuse. So she's also seeing a change in Jamal's behavior, though, as well. He's not the same outgoing child he was earlier in the year, and she keeps looking at a photo on her desk. That photo is of Jamal in his SpongeBob outfit at Halloween with all of his friends around. So she keeps looking at that, change in attitude, along with the bruises, and she's asking herself, is this really enough evidence to report? Then there's the ethical question I talked about earlier, whether or not she's seen enough to report the mandated reporter. But, is it the best thing to do? Her teaching cohort of hers, Colin, he reported to the Tennessee DCF the previous year that a child, Randall, was then separated from his sister, bounced around from home to home over 9 months. Some of those situations were worse than the one he was in. Also, the Tennessee DCS has been in the news lately for its troubles within the foster care system. There's been stories of placement issues, handling caseloads has been too much, and even a recent death of a foster child within the Tennessee DCS system. So what to do for Amanda? The story doesn't give a conclusion as to what Amanda decides to do, but it kind of gives you the feeling she's leaning toward calling DCS and reporting the situation. She's well aware that Jamal's mother loves him very much. She's built a relationship with Jamal's mother. These changes have come in when the new boyfriend of Jamal's mother entered the picture. She's aware Jamal's mother uses corporal punishment, as do many in the South. In fact, 70% of Americans still believe corporal punishment is okay. But it seems to be more than bruises after she sees Jamal's arm will lead to reporting. As much as anything, maybe it's a change in his demeanor. The fact that he's not outgoing as he was, that may end up being the deciding factor on whether she decides to report or not. You know, what would I do? It's a tough call since I'm just reading the story. I do not actually know the individual involved, so it's not a clear case of child abuse according to the DCS. I don't know this. I guess I'd probably report just in case, but I'm not 100% sure I would do that. In Kansas, if you're a teacher, you are a mandated reporter. I said earlier, I gained a daughter from it, changed my career due to it. I would definitely err on the side of reporting instead of not reporting. I do know that. You know, but I want to make sure that it's child abuse or child neglect and not just some kind of corporal punishment thing, especially when there's other siblings involved, you're breaking them up. As I mentioned earlier, I gained a daughter because of mandated reporting. She moved in October 19. She entered us. We went into being a foster parent. Never imagined I'd do that. We live 25 miles away in Great Bend from where Chase High School is. I wanted to make sure that she was able to live a normal teenage life. So I started taking her to all the home basketball games. I have a background in sports as I spent much of my professional life being a sports writer. Near the end of basketball season, the girls' basketball coach at Chase quit, and I inquired about the job. But then in March of 2020, of course, COVID hit, and everything hit at a standstill. Stayed that way till that August in 2020 when Keisha decided to go ahead with the high school sports season. It was at that point the principal called me, offered me the head coaching job for the basketball team. My schedule did allow it. So I decided, hey, why not? Let's give this a try. As I started coaching the girls' basketball team, which my daughter was a manager for, I realized I had a really good connection with the kids. In fact, I started the year with 5 players on my team. I ended the year with 9 players on my teams as the students around the school saw what I was doing with them. And that spring, I began to talk to the principal about the transition to teaching program. She encouraged me to look into it, which I did, found out I was eligible, and I was actually hired that May to become a teacher. In June of that year, I began the transition teaching program. This is my first year, last year teaching. I quickly learned the connection with the girls' basketball team was just a small part of my overall connection with students in general, high school and junior high. And I have thoroughly enjoyed my first year teaching and I'm looking forward to the next. And again, it all started thanks to a mandated reporter. Here's some pictures of my foster daughter chilling with our dog Waffle. At the left, she was, even though she was a junior, there wasn't enough candidates. She was a homecoming queen candidate last basketball season because there weren't enough seniors. On the right, she does play volleyball as well as being manager of the basketball team. Main story, the reference is the main story I just read. So mandated reporting. It is a tough situation. It's a tough call. You got to take each case by case. But if you're not sure, Kansas tells you have to report. Thank you.